Redditors who have tried to hide on your cruise when it ended so that you could stay on the ship for the next round. How did that go? Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel. There was an episode of This American Life, I think, where a woman did this, but back in the day, like the 60s or early 70s, there were seating charts or something in the dining room, so she couldn't sneak in to eat, and things that she assumed would be open most of night, like bars, weren't. She lived on a lot of bar garnishes, and had to pretend she was drunk who kept passing out in the lounge. It was a lot less fun than she thought it would be, with very little sleep and cleaning herself up in public bathrooms, while worrying she would be caught doing so at any time. She had to sneak back into her own country because she hadn't brought a passport. I worked for Carnival. We will find you. We know you're in the ship, and we'll want you to get off, so I can take a short nap before I have to do it all over again in a few hours. I don't know if this counts, but on the last night of a cruise my friends and I got really drunk. Well, I don't know how the hell, but I ended up somewhere passengers shouldn't be, in a goddamn supply closet I believe. The ship had docked and there was a 2-hour search for me. Still drunk, I couldn't find a way to get out to the room where the supply closet was, but the door was locked. The crew thought I was trying to sneak another ride, but after reviewing the cameras they clearly could tell I was nowhere near sober. So they let me go on my way with a good laugh. To this day I still don't remember making my way down there. Not me, but a couple decided to hide to try get another week out of their holiday. This was while we were halfway through our holiday, so we heard it all. Dozens of announcements calling for them or anyone who's seen them were made throughout the day. Their rooms were searched and everything they owned in that room was seized. Apparently, the ship left port late by about 90 minutes, but they were eventually found and escorted off the ship when the crew decided to check the identity of every passenger on board. Wow, I can actually kinda answer that. Okay, so it was not a cruise but a ferry. Also, we didn't hide on purpose. It was the ferry from Ceres, Prince Edward Island to the Isles de la Madeleine, Quebec, Canada. A 12-hour ride. We embarked at 2 AM and found a very quiet spot to sleep. We slept through the landing and no one woke us up because no one actually saw us. When we woke up we saw the island going away from us. Result, we spent 36 hours on that boat. Sorry for my bad English. Used to be in the USCG. We had this happen a few times in Miami. They were all escorted off the ship. Typically the police handle the situation, but if a stowaway was discovered while still in the 3 to 12 mile range, we would render assistance once they were apprehended by the onboard law enforcement. I don't know if this counts, but my dad got locked in a toilet cubicle on a ferry to France, and it took several people to find him. The toilet was right out of the way and you couldn't hear him yelling even right outside in the corridor because the doors were so massive. I guess he could have gone immediately back to England. Could have become a ship toilet hermit. Late to the party, but I can chime in and further add proof if needed. I worked for Carnival for 5 years, specifically in debarkation. Additionally, I worked for Disney Cruise Line and Princess Cruise Line. Here's what happens. We give you a card upon check-in, and that card is scanned the minute you step on board. Additionally, it is scanned when you leave the ship for either complete debarkation or excursions. At the end of your cruise, debarkation starts around 7 AM. Come 10 AM we receive a list of people who have not yet had their card scanned. It's impossible to get off the boat without getting your card scanned, unless you jump into the water, haha. Then a man begins to get you guys off the ship, so we can put a new 2200 to 2600 people on it. We do not start boarding new passengers until every card from the previous voyage has been scanned. In my experience, nobody ever waits and tries to hide. If you do take a cruise, book a flight that's a little bit later in the morning and go with the latest checkout time you can. So many people aim for debarking around 7 o'clock to 9 AM. Literally over 1700 people will be waiting in lines that'll take well over an hour to get out of. Instead of waiting in line for the hour, stay on board and eat some breakfast. Take some last minute photos, and then when your time comes just leave, go through customs, and be on your merry way. I'm the one-stop redditor for all cruising tips. Haha. Edit. I'm starting my commute to work, but I'll be sure to answer all questions when I get there. Close bracket. Edit 2. Alright, I'm back. Time to answer these questions. Edit 3. I'll still answer questions if you PM me. Also thanks for all of the kind words and gold and silver. It's been a fun thread. Been doing this for a couple of years now. They slapped a name tag on me and now I work here. I'm a stand-up comic who works on cruise ships 3 to 4 months out of the year. Guests who take forever to leave suck. Employees of the ship can't leave until every last guest has exited the vessel. So if the guest is taking their time to leave or hiding, they are potentially keeping over 100 employees from going home. And many of the employees are on the ship for like 8 months. So every second counts when they just want to get off and start heading home. Get the fuck off the boat. In 1991 I took a ferry from Brindisi, Italy to Corfu, Greece. A guy I met in line assumed I didn't speak English and he was telling his friend that they needed to smoke all of their weed because they heard that the border agents in Greece were strict. We became fast friends. I had booze too. I was going to sleep in the open air on the deck, but a French Canadian girl with a mustache kept trying to crawl into my sleeping bag with me and do the nasty "I'm a guy" BTW. It finally came to a point where I knew my only chance to get some sleep and get away was to rent a room. So I went and paid the extra money for a room to Corfu. They were going to wake me up when we reached port. I wake up and the pursers are knocking on my door. So I let them in and say Corfu? No, they say. I was a bit annoyed. Why the fuck are you waking me up if we are not at my port? I try to convey that and then they say no Corfu. Huh. Corfu gone. What? I find myself being escorted up to some obviously palacy kind of office with the pursers looking angry at me, but I finally get to somebody that speaks English and start ripping them for not fucking waking me up. I guess they didn't like my attitude because I was booted off on mainland Greece with no way to get to fucking Corfu with a raging hangover and I'm about to shit my pants. I start asking around the port how I can get to Corfu and where I can find a bathroom. Some random Greek guy took pity on me and helped me out and suddenly realized that a rust bucket that was just about to leave was heading there. I rush over and pay, and it's not a tourist boat, it's the boat the locals take to work on the island. I make a beeline for the head, and a dude stops me. No using the bathroom while in port. I have to wait until they get past the break wall. At this point my clinch muscles have been getting a good hour or so workout. I'm sweating profusely, and the hangover is really kicking into high gear. I curl up in the fetal position next to the big cowl vent until we are nearing the break wall, and I head towards the head. We finally pass, and the dude opens the door. You know that sense of relief you get when you're finally at a bathroom after more than an hour of clenching. It was palpable. I get into the bathroom, and I'm hit with a wall of hot stench. No worries. I can do the old curl the upper lip trick to close my nostrils. I'm on a mission. I open the stall door and no toilet. This is Greece. It's a hole in the shit, covered floor with 2 spots for your feet. Now at this point, something in the back of my brain is wondering why there is shit all over the floor. But too many other things were going on in my brain at the time that I simply chalked it up to the Greeks having prehensile anuses. And that's when the waves hit. My pants are down. I'm bending down to do the squat, and I hear it. Glug 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 glug. Now since I had just begun the squat my eyes happened to be perfectly aligned with the hole. And there I see a black liquid mass working its way up from the deep like an angry creature from the earth's core. Those thoughts from the back of my brain come rushing forward into the spotlight. Now I'm strongly suspecting that the Greeks, well at least most of them, don't have prehensile anuses. There is a perfectly valid reason that there is shit all over the floor, and I was witnessing it. I pulled my pants up and burst out the stall, just as the marats arose from every stall, nipping at my heels as I skipped over the bulkhead and out the door. I returned to my fetal position on the bow, clenching and shivering for the 3-hour trip to Corfu. Ships tend to have really good tracking of their packs. There's security cameras everywhere, and when you disembark they give the ship a really good walkthrough. All the passenger areas are easy to see through and have no hiding places, and if a packs were to be in a crew area, it happened every now and then, we would notice immediately. I've never had passengers try to stow away, but I've definitely seen crew run away from the ship. Mostly happens in American ports. Personally, when I was working on ships, I couldn't wait to get the fuck off them every time I saw land. Why people cruise to begin with is beyond my comprehension. A little different. I was going through a really hard bout with depression in 2012 and really had nothing going on in life besides an overpass job at a gym. My parents decided to do a family cruise in March as our Christmas present. I was actually planning on saying goodbye to my family at the end of the trip and just getting off at the last island and not getting back on. Then I found out the cruise company would alert local authorities that I didn't get back on. I wanted to just island skip for a while instead of backpacking through Europe to do some thinking and adventuring. I didn't want to end up in some shitty Caribbean jail. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel.